Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Camel, but more importantly, welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Detective series, a series in which we investigate, curate, speculate, hypothesize, theorize, and quite often simply highlight and discuss cool, interesting, and hidden things that can be found within the Elder Scrolls games. Now today, we will be dispelling, concluding, and once and for all putting to sleep the mysterious bugs in jars of Skyrim, with the help of Skyrim's developers. Yes, that's right, there's no speculation, just concrete answers. And while I did cover this topic in my recent Skyrim Easter egg video, I feel this topic as a whole deserves its own video. There will be no conjecture or grey areas, just hard truths. This video will also be the full story of the bugs in jars, so the whole picture is painted for all to understand. So if you are here just for some closure, a timestamp can be found down in the description for the final result and truth behind the bugs in jars. Down there in the description, links to my other Elder Scrolls Detective videos can be found along with links to my social media. Be sure to check them all out after this true investigation. I've had many requests to explain the bugs in jars, to reveal their secrets, or come up with my own theory. And while many have claimed to have solved the mysteries and coded messages or purpose of the bugs in jars, none actually have, and there is a good reason for it. If you search on YouTube, for example, Skyrim bugs in jars, you'll get tens, if not hundreds of videos explaining in great detail and incorrect detail the meaning of the bugs in the jars. Bug? Let's go back to the start. We'll run through the common theories and their flaws, and then the story behind uncovering the truth. So it all began on November 11, 2011, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim was released to the public. Hundreds of quests, thousands of mysteries, stories, legends, and huge-scale detail for everyone to play and enjoy. While there are still a number of unsolved mind-bending cases left in Skyrim, still to this very day nothing has quite caused as much conspiracy, conjecture, or conjuring of esoteric plots as the not-so-elusive yet wholesomely unsolvable bugs in jars. Scattered seemingly randomly across Skyrim, 5 bugs in jars can be found. At the Golden Glow Estate, west of Riften, inside Arangoth's bedroom, we can find a bee in a jar. Inside an alchemist's shack, found to the south of Ivarstead, we'll find a butterfly in a jar. At the Ultimate stronghold of Doshnikyal, inside Burguk's longhouse, we can find a dragonfly in a jar. Inside Dusk Glow Cave, found to the south of Dawnstar, we can find a moth in a jar. And finally, inside Frostflow Lighthouse, we can find a torch bug in a jar. And that's literally that. Just 5 bugs in jars. There's no quests attached to them, no real purpose to them at all. Simply some lovely little collectibles for players to go out, gather, and decorate their cozy homesteads with. Or so we thought, when suddenly players began to notice symbols, letters, characters, sharp scribblings etched into the underside of the lids or stoppers. There must be more to them. 5 unique miscellaneous items with no quest connections, yet marked with mysterious esoteric symbols. What could they possibly mean? Well, when a mystery arises, the internet will be sure to explain it every which way and every wrong way too. From cute collectibles to Illuminati confirmed. Theories stemmed from these simple items ranging from, well, think of any topic, and I guarantee someone has come up with a theory connecting these bugs in jars with that random topic that you just thought of. Players started to believe that these symbols were letters in English, and while I suppose letters in the English alphabet can be made out from these symbols, it's a bit of a jumbled mess. Maybe they represent some of the developers' names, like their initials? Well, I did go through the entire list of developers' names from Skyrim, and no solid connection could be found. There's no frequency or consistency or patterns. The letters you end up with don't work as an anagram, as they have too few vowels and too many rare consonants. But notice how sharp the symbols are. Maybe they are runes, Viking runes. This theory is actually very common, with literally hundreds of people telling me, "Oh, Camel, it's so simple. All you have to do is translate them from Viking runes to English." Well, my fellow nerds, for no good reason, when I was a young chap, I learnt the Elder and Younger Futhark, which is the name of the Viking rune alphabet, and these symbols on the jars make just as little or as much sense as they do in Futhark as they did in English, which is absolutely no sense. And again, I don't want to crap on anyone who has come up with a theory, but while there are plenty of videos explaining and translating with great detail, they also consist of great conjecture, which we'll talk about more in a minute. But the main problem with Futhark, or Viking runes, is that they were used in a variety of areas across Europe over a number of centuries, and the alphabet constantly changed and evolved in different directions all across Europe. So just as we have the English alphabet, well, there are tens of Futhark alphabets ranging over hundreds of years coming from different countries. So even if the symbols on the bugs in jars were Futhark, Younger or Elder, you'd have to know the exact alphabet before one could translate the symbols on the bugs in jars. Another common theory stems from each Futhark rune has a word associated to that rune. For example, there might be one letter, but that letter represents sun. So some believe that you could figure out which rune was written on the bugs in jars, then find the word associated with that rune, then do that for all of the symbols, and you would figure out a sentence or a little poem or something of the sort. Again, you'd need to know which exact alphabet from which time and which region of Northern Europe to use. Even then, when you put this filter through every single Futhark alphabet, you just end up with a bunch of random words, many repeating, as there are many repeated symbols on these bugs in jars. So all of the theories claiming to have solved the riddle of the bugs in jars this way are all filled with just that filler. Because they don't make any sense, people who are making these theories, they just go, oh well, this doesn't make sense, so let's add this random letter that has nothing to do with the bugs in jars here, let's add 3 lines to this rune and change their order, then let's use some English letters until we end up with exactly what I was looking for. Some people converted the letters into numbers and using subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, and often a mixture of them all to search for something meaningful. Again, the problem is none of it adds up, so people just apply a number of conditions to the source until it fits the magic number they were looking for in the first place. An example of this is stuff like, so if we take this letter and then add 3 lines to it, then flip it, then convert it to a number and times it by 3 and then divide it by 4 and then convert that number back to a letter, we end up with the exact letter I was looking for. It's like, wow. Amazing! It's almost as if the symbol on the jar and the thing you ended up with have zero relation. And while applying a sequence to decrypt something is one thing, it doesn't count when you come up with a new sequence for each letter until you just end up with a sentence that you were looking for. Anyone could do that. And again, I don't want to come across as if I'm just crapping all over the people who put time and thought into coming up with these theories and who enjoy them, but as soon as they're presented to me as like an actual solution, no, they're completely unacceptable. There's no consistency or logic applied to them. So while the creativity is commendable, the actual logical steps into solving the puzzle are terrible. Others connected the locations of the bugs in jars on the map.
Illuminati confirmed.
Is this just a coincidence? Yes.
People drew charts and built sequences out of nothing, searching every which way for a solution to the puzzle. Some people just really go out there and say things like, oh, the bugs in jars are connected to the Talos ritual, as Talos is the only divine without a known summoning ritual. Because of this, obviously, it must be connected to the bugs in jars. So these items, these really annoying little bugs in jars, have entertained many, have plagued others, and have been entirely ignored by some. After 6 years of not knowing the truth behind them, I decided to go deeper than theories and speculation. Rather than conjure conjecture, I wanted concrete answers. And I found them. It all starts at E3, both 2016 and 2017. While I was there, I actually asked Bethesda staff if they knew anything about the bugs in jars, or if there were any staff there that year who I could talk to who might know about them. I asked Australia's Bethesda staff if they knew anything or if they could get me in contact with anyone who knew. Seriously, Bethesda's community staff are wonderful, and they're coming to me like, oh, we've got a new game coming out, we give you the game for free, here, have the collector's edition, we'll give you codes for this, codes for this DLC. If you want any of our merchandise, just let us know, we'll hook you up with merch. And I'm like, forget those things, give me information on the bugs in jars. They're like, Jesus, he's obsessed with these bugs in jars. I even went as far as to pester good friends of mine, for example, a man named Zarek, absolute legend. He's got a lot of connections with people that actually worked on Skyrim, and you should definitely check his channel out, by the way. But he's saying things like, oh, I can hook you up with an interview with these Skyrim developers if you want. And I'm like, forget it, just ask them about the bugs in the jars. He did, he asked, to no avail. And despite my persistent attempts, nothing ever came of them. And closing the book once and for all on the bugs in jars seemed like an impossible task. Then one day, I'm sitting on Twitter, just goofing around, and I saw a man called Jonah, and his bio stated that he was one of the guys that made the dragons in Skyrim. I thought, that's pretty cool, I'll follow this guy. Skyrim's a big part of my life, and this is one of the guys that actually worked on the game and made the dragons. So then, 6-7 months down the track, this question of the bugs in jars comes up once more. In one of my detective videos, I asked people what they want me to make a video on, and heaps of people say the bugs in jars. So I start looking into it again. It's just a big mess of conspiracies with no truths or hard answers. I thought to myself, by the gods, if only I had access to someone who worked on Skyrim, I could ask them. Then, bing, light bulb. I know, I'll ask Jonah, the dragon maker. Hey Jonah, I have a question about Skyrim that hopefully you can help me with. The bugs in jars, what is the story behind them? And through the power and kindness of Twitter, Jonah replied, because I'm not entirely sure actually. Joel, you must know the answer to this, yeah? So thanks, each jar lid has an unidentifiable text written on it. I've been trying to figure it out for years to no avail, please help, much love. Joel did reply, but it was a quite simple and punctual yeah. Yeah, there is a story behind the bugs in jars. So I added, if you could shed any light on what the story behind the mysterious writing on the jars is, I'd be eternally grateful. And then, radio silence. No further replies. So then I kinda went, nah, that's a bit annoying. He did confirm that there is a story behind them, but when the man with the knowledge was asked, he vanished. Well, luckily for you, I don't call myself the Elder Scrolls Detective for nothing. A couple of months later, I was working on the remastered Skyrim Easter egg video, and these bugs in jars came up once again. I went full detective mode. Joel, the guy that said yeah to there being a story behind the bugs in jars, I looked up his name in Skyrim's credits, and he was listed as a level designer. This is important because it means the people who know about such things as the bugs in jars are the level designers. So, I went through the list of other level designers in Skyrim's credits list and hunted down the ones I could find on Twitter. I found about 3 other of Skyrim's level designers on Twitter. I asked them all, but none replied. But then, bing! A godsend of a man named Ryan replied. Hey Ryan, can you please help me shed some light on the letters on the jar lids in Skyrim, or at least point me in the right way? Much love. Camel, you're going to be really disappointed when I tell you they don't mean anything. So I replied with, I asked Joel if there was a story attached, to which he replied yeah. So is there truly no reason those letters were chosen? I think the artist wanted the design team to put in a ton of work for some half-baked idea they had with it, a typical occurrence at Bethesda Game Studios. And then the art never changed after we said no to that big grand idea. So the bugs in jars are nothing more than the remains of a cut quest, or not even that, but simply a cut idea. It basically transpired like this. Guys, I've got this sick idea. I've made these bugs in jars with symbols, and I've got this sick master plan where blah 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 blah. And then development were like, yeah, nah, we're not gonna put that into the game, but we also don't have time to change the art, so just stick them in somewhere and let's carry on finishing Skyrim. While it's not necessarily romantic, it is so much more believable than a company under massive time pressure coming up with some super elaborate scheme and conspiracy with bugs in jars that not even 30 million players could figure out over 6 years. If you actually think about that as a scenario, it's extremely unlikely. If that were true, then Skyrim's developers that made bugs in jars should quit and work for the CIA encrypting codes and secret messages that no one can break. However, one of the artists coming up with an idea that gets rejected, as Ryan said, That kind of stuff happens all the time. Now, you could look at this answer and think, aha, they're trying to trick us into thinking there is no secret conspiracy when we all know there is. And if that is how you feel, then that's how you feel, and I don't plan on changing your mind, and I wish you Godspeed in solving it. I am sure as hell satisfied with the answer I found, and I can finally never have to think about these damned bugs in jars again. So I do hope you have enjoyed the 6-year journey, the discovery, and the endless waves and posts about theories and conspiracies surrounding these simple items. Equally so, I do hope you learnt something new about the beautifully mad universe that these wonderful games take place in, the Elder Scrolls. But most importantly of all, what do you think about these bugs in jars? Do they hold some form of doomsday secret, or were they truly just cut quest items? I personally think the latter. After all, it was confirmed by a developer of Skyrim. So, from me to the jars, I say bug off once and for all. If you do have any information, facts, evidence, speculation, theories, or anything to do with the bugs in jars despite already being presented with a concrete answer, be sure to leave your stories and thoughts on them. If you have any ideas for something that you think should be covered in an Elder Scrolls Detective series video, be sure to let me know. I'll look into whatever strange and wonderful topics you present. If you did enjoy this video, please do me a kindness and leave a like, leave a comment with your Elder Scrolls Detective ideas and your thoughts on the bugs in jars, and the kind of underwhelming yet wholesomely satisfying conclusion. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos similar to this one, please subscribe. It helps me know people enjoy these kind of videos, and it will result in more of them in the long run. Be sure to click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button right here on YouTube so that you are notified when new Elder Scrolls Detective videos are uploaded. My other Elder Scrolls Detective video links can be found down in the description. Down there are also links to my social media. And if you'd like to support the channel in a more personal way, you can become a patron on Patreon. As I'm sure you know, all of my time and energy goes into making these videos that I create for you to enjoy, so your support is most appreciated and welcomed in any and all forms. Feel free to check out the playlist on screen. Thanks for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and I will see you very shortly in the next video. I'll see you there soon.